They told the Filipino people this was unity. Two of the biggest political names in the country, two powerful families, two leaders standing on one stage, promising order, discipline, and a better future. For a while, it looked like the country had chosen peace. But in politics, peace between dynasties is rarely peace. Most of the time, it is only a pause before the next war. This is a fictional Philippine political drama where power no longer hides behind closed doors. It spills into televised speeches, leaked recordings, online propaganda, protests, and police lines. But more than that, it spills into ordinary lives, into the price of rice, into hospital queues, into flooded barangays, into homes where families keep surviving while the powerful fight over who gets to define the nation. At the center are two figures. Bong McCoy is calm, polished, and strategic, a president who speaks the language of order, unity, and national dignity. He believes institutions must hold, and the country must look stable, even when everything underneath is already cracking. He understands image. He understands legacy. He knows how to appear composed while the nation absorbs another wave of pain. Tala Duterte is fierce, sharp, and magnetic, a vice president who speaks with anger that many Filipinos instantly recognize. She attacks corruption, weakness, and elite betrayal with force and conviction. To millions, she sounds real because she sounds furious. But anger is not always justice. Sometimes it is only ambition wearing the voice of the people. Then the scandal breaks. Billions meant for disaster relief, housing support, and emergency services begin to disappear behind contracts, shell programs, and signatures that lead nowhere. Entire communities wait for aid that never arrives. Teachers repair classrooms with their own money. Mothers search for medicine that has already run out. Farmers borrow just to survive another month. The poor do not experience corruption as headlines. They experience it as hunger, floodwater, debt, and another day of being told to wait. Bong McCoy wants control. He wants investigations contained, the crisis managed, and the image of government protected. Tala Duterte wants confrontation. She attacks publicly, calling the system rotten from the inside out. Every speech sharpens the divide. Every appearance pushes the country closer to choosing sides. But this story is not on their side. This story belongs to the Filipino people, to the public school teacher in Leyte, who no longer waits for promised funds because her students cannot learn inside speeches, to the ride-hailing driver in Manila who measures every political statement against the price of fuel, rent, and dinner, to the young journalist in Mindanao who starts digging into the missing funds and learns that both camps fear the truth when it threatens power, to the nurse quietly packing for abroad because leaving feels more realistic than hoping, to the student activist who enters the struggle with conviction only to discover how easily public pain can be turned into another political weapon. As the conflict grows, the pattern becomes clear. One side speaks of order, the other speaks of justice. One says the nation must be protected from chaos. The other says it must be saved from corruption. But beneath the speeches, both rely on the same machinery: loyal operators, local dynasties, media influence, propaganda, wealthy backers, and a public kept emotional, divided, and exhausted. That is where this story hits hardest. Not in the palace, not in the campaign room, not in the handshake photos, but in the contrast. A president saying the nation is stable over footage of flooded streets. A vice president promising justice over families still waiting for relief. A polished speech layered over empty pharmacy shelves. A fiery anti-corruption address cut against broken classrooms and dark hospital corridors. Because the real tragedy is not simply that politicians lie. It is that Filipinos have heard the same language for generations: reform, unity, discipline, progress, strength, and still end up carrying the same burdens whenever elites rearrange themselves. Bong McCoy is not the villain. Tala Duterte is not the hero. And the reverse is not true either. He is a leader trapped between preservation and denial. She is a leader trapped between public rage and personal ambition. Both know how to speak to the nation. Neither fully knows how to serve it without needing to own it. As the story escalates, the country moves toward a breaking point. Protests grow, rumors spread, allies defect. Media becomes a battlefield. Election season turns into a countdown to something larger than a vote. Once again, the nation is told to choose its savior. But the people begin to understand the trap. Maybe the question was never which dynasty deserves the palace. Maybe the real question is why the country keeps being asked to survive the same families in different forms. And when communities begin organizing relief without waiting for politicians, when journalists keep publishing despite threats, when workers reject propaganda, and when families stop mistaking charisma for service, something changes. For the first time, the most dangerous force in the story is no longer the president or the vice president. It is a Filipino public learning to look beyond names. This story is not about who wins power. It is about a people refusing to remain background characters in their own country.